Welcome to 5 Star Weekly. This week we wonder if Jamal Thiare can do it again on the road if Giakoumakis isn't available. And why is Thiago Almada underperforming so far? We get into all that and more coming up. And wherever it is you get your pods, subscribe, share, and leave us a good rating. Welcome to the show, 5 Star fam. I'm AJ, and this is Michael. And LA United were able to get their second clean sheet of the season and another win at the Benz to make this an undefeated home record so far, making it a fortress. But before we get into the match review, shouts out to our patrons on Patreon. Much love to you guys. Gavin, Jordan, Niall, Andrew, Chris. You guys are legends. Join us there. And yes, absolutely, we will have some amazing stuff coming up soon, as well as new content, which, yes, 5 takes on the 5 stripes. They are officially on the YouTube now. Check them out. They dropped their episode yesterday, and so yeah, definitely check it out. Comment, give them some love, and we will see you in the comment section there. But yeah, LA United, we came off that really tough results against Toronto FC, and yeah, this Chicago Fire, like we are now 7-0 against them at home. I mean, that's really great record, obviously. In terms of versus Chicago, we seem to crush them every single time that we play, at the Benz or at Bobby Dodd. I mean, our first win against them ever, obviously was against the Chicago Fire. But, yeah, second clean sheet of the season. I mean, not a bad day. I would say we didn't even really get into, like, third or fourth gear. I mean, I think we could have played even better. Like, this is a performance that's like, okay, it was good. It's not something that it's like, oh man, like, absolutely one of our best wins ever. But it is also Chicago Fire. While they were, I don't think they didn't make things super difficult either, I would say. Like while Noah Cobb is, he's a homegrown and he's still, kind of working his way with experience and all that, like, they didn't really trouble him that much. And I think that's interesting as well. I mean, when, this side that many didn't peg as a team that would really trouble maybe too many in this league, but, we just have to take care of business sometimes, and we did it emphatically, with the 3-0. But, Brad Guzan, he did have to make a few saves to start the match, one of the first 10 minutes. But, I mean, I think the biggest save that he had to make was in the second half when he was outstretched to make that kind of back post save. But other than that, it was pretty comfortable, I feel like, for most of the chances that Chicago had. But, on the flip side for us, I think the forwards were very hungry. They were, and I think, Sava Lapsinice, like, he is on fire in terms of, not only just the distance that he's been running, but, the creativity from him. He's got a point to prove, clearly, being spurned for the Georgia national team. Like, this is perfect motivation. But, let's get to, though, first off, your overarching thoughts on a whole on this match.
Yeah, I'm going to start first with kind of trying to figure out Chicago and what happened with them. I think we saw a team in Chicago that very much reminded me of when we played Joseph Martinez on an island by himself up front. And that's essentially what happened with the Chicago striker. they tried to get him the ball, but just couldn't get the service to him, and he was all alone by himself. Struggled to get involved, and they couldn't really produce much because of that. And credit to Atlanta United's defense, even with Noah Cobb. I mean, we talked about how Williams was, essential in directing the younger players around him. He did a good job. Everyone pretty much did a good job on defense. Brad Guzan obviously dictating from the net, being able to stymie any attack coming forward. For the most part, closing guys down. We didn't have a scenario like we did in Toronto where we just failed to close the guy down and just let him operate. So that's good. Lesson learned, at least a little bit, considering the fact that, I think Chicago is a worse team. So you have to take that in mind with this win, is that, we played good enough, and it was definitely enough to bury Chicago, but, against a good team, this might be like a draw or something like that. So we have to be careful with being too jubilant. However, as we're reminded a lot, it's a win. We should be excited. And that's true. We are. However, we need to see, the mountains that will be coming our way soon and how we will climb them. Going over these little hills, these little road bumps like Chicago, troubled us none and shouldn't have. It's kind of like beating a dead horse in that these are the teams you put to a sword, and if you can't, that spells trouble, because when you go into a game against a really good team, you're going to suffer big time. So those are my overarching thoughts for the game.
Yeah. And that's what it is, because, you predicted a 3-1 win. I think I did as well. It pretty much, I mean,
and
we did one
we
better.
Would have been, I wager we would have been right if Shaqiri started, but he didn't. So, and if I knew he wasn't going to start, would have probably said 3-0.
Right. And that's the thing, too. It's, while Chicago, they do have weapons, but, it's just so hard to win on the road. And, I think ultimately that's what it is. Like, we were able to take care of the business that we were supposed to at home. And, kind of getting through the match here is, first 10 minutes, Brad Guzan, like I said, had to, kind of get shot at a little bit. We also had our chances. It wasn't exactly a one-way traffic. I would say it was, we were pretty aggressive, but as well, we had kind of a defensive game plan to kind of stymie them and figure out how to pretty much nullify their biggest threats. And Shaqiri not playing also does help, even though he's not really exactly someone that I think a lot of Chicago fans are really saying that helps them that much currently. But he's got that moment of magic in him, and that's, he came on later.
Those players seem to show up against us, so that's why it worried me.
Exactly. But in terms of some of the chances, there were some moments from Shana Silva that's I think while it's a little sloppy in possession at times, he's always trying to make something happen. And, it's, I think instrumental in the second goal for us, the first goal for us. But, we'll get into that. But Giacomakis as well, he was definitely really trying to get on the score sheet, as he always does. He did have a couple of times that he was looked at by trainers, and obviously he did come off early. But it just seemed like, with kind of was he a target, you feel like, maybe? Like, maybe in some ways Chicago was, trying to, I guess, nullify our threat by, kind of either being pretty physical with him, or did you notice anything like that?
Not anything more than usual. Giacomakis always does his, fall over a lot when he feels defensive pressure to try and get a call, whether it's warranted or not. Sometimes it isn't, I feel like, but he does do that. I did see him doing that once or twice. Obviously defenders play him tough. Was it Turan who was the defender on him this game? I forget. I think it was, and he played hard against him, but I didn't see him getting specifically banged up that much.
Right. Which I think, yeah, it's something to keep an eye on, because Stian Gregerson, I felt like he was unnecessarily banged up by Orlando, and it's obviously he's out for a little bit of time, but hopefully not any longer than that. But Giacomakis in our first goal, though, I mean, pretty much all our forwards plus Thiago Almada played a part in this goal, and yeah, it's just very strong build up with a brilliant through ball from Shauna Silva to Saba Lapsinice, and he was able to find a really good cross on his left, and it seemed like, yeah, I mean, Saba was like floating everywhere, and at times Saba and Silva were kind of in the same areas, at least, kind of operating, kind of confusing Chicago as well, because on the right side, Brooks Lennon is going to stay wide. You're going to have that threat there. And yeah, I mean, the cross from Saba is just a perfect height for Giacomakis to be able to stab it in low, get it past the keeper, and what an exhilarating goal, I feel like, actually, because I think that really excited the stadium. It pretty much it made the point that, yes, because even then it was in the 45th minute, like, yeah, we were, I think, pretty much on top. We needed to score, because if we didn't, going into halftime, it just allows the unrest to happen that could possibly happen when a team like Chicago is just, yeah, they're a little dire. They can grow into the match. It's just not, it doesn't bode well for the proceedings. But so definitely very good there. In terms of the injury to Giacomakis, because that's when in the second half there he was, he had to come off, and it was basically 60-second minutes where a bit of a knock. It seemed like a little knee to knee, and I noticed it immediately when he was basically just hobbling a little bit, kind of gingerly, running / jogging, and it was just, I was like, oh dear God, like, hopefully it's not anything too serious. But he was obviously taken off in a triple substitution, where Fortune, Mascara, and Thiare came on, and Thiare, first touch, able to get a goal. Lennon just, I mean, this was a very reminiscent goal of a preseason goal that Thiare scored, but pretty much stand up to the back post, and Thiare just thumps it home. It is brilliant. It's a very, very good goal in terms of if you're gonna kind of go, I mean, it's a little route one, but it's still I think it plays to the strengths of these two players, in Lennon and Thiare. But how did you see this goal?
Oh yeah, I saw it was great. I mean, like, that's exactly the type of goal I feel like we were sold as the goal he would score, like the types of goals he will score. And I was expecting it, waiting for it. Saw it in preseason. I was expecting more of it. And this is exactly what you bring on a backup striker to do, is be able to provide some goals through their strengths, which is, I think, Jamal's getting up into the air and getting some balls in the net. So I was really happy to see that. And you know what? The cherry on top with just his next goal, like, he has more in the tool shed than just headers. So that was also very, very promising to see.
Right, indeed. Because that the second goal for Thiare, his brace. It was a shot by Almada in the
birthday
box.
Brace.
Yeah, birthday brace, and he even said it after the match that this was the best day of his life. Which, hey man, yeah, it's like there are moments in the bends that really provide that. So, Hey, 100%. But yeah, it's it's a shot from Almada in the box. He's missing just slightly right now, because he's playing pretty well, and we'll get to Thiago Almada, but yeah, Thiare, he's able to follow this up, really good poacher's goal essentially, where he picks it up because it hits off of the post. He's able to skin his man pretty much, kind of sell him the wrong way, and then he almost kind of just has an empty net a little bit. Like, he has the goal is gaping at that point, because he was able to take it with his left into space, and well taken on his left. So yeah, really, really good goal as well.
We've seen that kind of setup in goal missed completely in the past. So seeing this go right in is like, woof, thank goodness.
Right. Because we see these type of goals get against us all the time. But it's one of those, it's a poacher's goal, like I said, a little bit more so. But I think, if we can target those back posts a little bit more, it's really hard to track. It's really hard to mark those players because they ghost into space. And so more of these, more of the pullbacks, more of the the goals from set pieces. I think we can score a lot of goals. And it's maybe this. It's like those are the types of things that we need to kind of really work on for these away matches that we have. But that's another thing. That's another topic. We'll get into that in our match preview. But and in terms of those goals, obviously it's fairly clinical in terms of from Thiare, but Thiago Almada, it's another match where he doesn't really quite get on the stat sheet, but he is quite dangerous, and he's running proceedings throughout the match.
In the build-up, he's been essential. Yeah,
exactly, and that's kind of the baseline of what you expect from him, and it's obviously always fantastic. He's kind of one of the cogs of this team that pretty much allows us to get into the spaces that we do. So it is absolutely, he's not having a bad season. I would say he's not quite hitting the heights that we expect of him when he's got 12 goals and 16 assists last season, and unfortunately right now he's only got 1 goal, no assists, and that 1 goal was from a penalty. So it's definitely Almada. He has more to come, but I think
he's currently not hitting his MVP caliber player pace yet, which is, I think, some people have noticed, but it's not indicative of him falling off or anything like this, or not being instrumental. I mean, he's still attempting to be the creator in chief for us, and a lot of the goals and things that we have are due to his efforts, but it's still, I mean, the point still stands. He's behind in terms of what we compare him to in years past, and in terms of what we consider to be MVP caliber trajectory.
So some people on social media, due to kind of our comments on the live stream, pontificated that maybe he's want away, maybe he is pissed that he didn't get the move to Europe, but I don't think you prove it by not performing. That's
I don't think that's the case. I think he's trying. I mean, he took a bunch of shots that in another universe those could just go in. I think he's still, I mean, the only really thing he's lacking from his game is just the clinical aspect. I mean, he doesn't really have the assists yet like he should have, but he's still creating, he's still helping in the build up and getting things there. Just because he's not getting MVP numbers yet doesn't mean that he's not impacting the game. Like, that's not what we're trying to say. I don't think that's what we meant. I think that just because I think it's more so that he's just not finding the stat sheet, and then that's people notice that a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's what's interesting is, on social media, unfortunately, you have people that speak in absolutes. And if you are critical of anybody, they basically think that, it's one way or the other, essentially. You think he absolutely sucks. And, or the other end, if you say, like, and you praise him, well, they're like, well, no, he's only got one goal, and it's from a penalty this season. Like he's underperforming. He's slumping. He sucks this season, and it's just so funny. It's like there's nuance to the criticism, the evaluation of his form, and it's just interesting. Some of the comments where it's like people were like, it's like you guys have like it's the first time you guys are watching soccer or something, or it's like, and it's so interesting that's the take that you get from people kind of I think talking about how he's performing, especially like I think during the live stream, how hedging of bets that the takes were. Like if you're riding the fence and yet people are essentially one way or the other, they're like, no, like he's doing fantastic, and how dare you, this is so harsh of a take. It's just baffling to me that essentially on social media you cannot have nuance. It's one way or the other.
It's relative, right? I mean, like we said, it's just because he's not hitting, MVP pace in terms of statistics this season so far, doesn't mean he's doing badly. Mm-hmm. Like, just because you notice that, you notice one number is bigger than another number, it doesn't mean you should throw, the baby out with the bathwater. Yeah. So give us a little credit, I will say.
But it's hilarious. That's what social media is, and it's what it is. But so in terms of kind of, I guess, wrapping this matchup on a whole, we haven't really actually been, I think, prioritizing being completely dominant with the ball, the control and whatnot. I think. Not only with our XG, which was 4.2 to Chicago's 0.7, I think we prioritize right now being direct and trying to score goals, and then after that, having control with possession if needed. And I think that's the way I would prefer it for sure. It's just a matter of how do we carry that over to the road, because that's the biggest question, and that's how we're going to actually get to the heights that we want to be in the league. But do you have any kind of final thoughts on this match?
Yeah, one thing we'd be remiss to not talk about is the fact that we came out flat in the second half. Mm-hmm. We took our feet off of the gas pedal. Chicago looked like they were growing into the game. Mm-hmm. They were coming back. Their press seemed to be a little more suffocating for us. Mm-hmm. We were having a hard time building out the back. Our chances became fewer. I don't know what caused that. Mm-hmm. Pineda said in the press conference he doesn't know why that happened, and that was, or it's something to that effect, that he didn't like that happened, and then they'll address that. So that's good that he also noticed that, because I thought if this game is going to change, this is where it'll happen. Mm-hmm. And luckily, like we said, Chicago they couldn't find their striker. They couldn't really create much going forward. And that might just be because that's Chicago. If this was another team, this was a good team, and we come out like that, that could be scoring. They could be hanging 1 or 2 on us. So, it's good that Pineda has addressed that and said this needs to be looked at, because again, against another team, especially on the road, that could be spelling doom and gloom.
Right. And I think I also attribute the Chicago kind of, I guess, coming out of the locker room, in the company of their manager or head coach, there's always going to be a little bit of a little bump, where, okay, yeah, they're going to heed what the coach said and kind of get a little bit of that momentum, hopefully. And so, obviously the team that has the lead, you have something to protect. There is a little bit more complacency that can seep in at times, and instead of that killer instinct or that ultra motivation to like, okay, well, we need to bury them. You're up. You have a little bit of that comfort, and so I think
Atlanta cannot be like that. We cannot be a team that becomes complacent, because another team like this is gonna, and this is what Chicago did. They went into kitchen sink mode. They threw everything at us, and they just tried to get something, and it almost worked. That can't happen. We can't allow that to happen. So, I don't know if this was some kind of tactical shift that their manager gave them that we weren't able to adjust to until later, or what happened, but it needs to be figured out, and we need to not let, if this is a psychological issue, like the players coming out cold or something along these lines, this cannot happen. So a better team will have probably scored in that push that they did.
Right. And I think credit to Pineda and the team for being able to adjust in the match. So absolutely, I think that's something that we saw that even with pretty young side, especially, it's like 2 of the 4 of the back line are teenagers. Like that's wild, So and yet we were able to keep a clean sheet. Like it's not lucky. It's because of the talent that's in there, and the coaching that's there to kind of drag them through the match too. Maybe not drag. That's maybe a little strong to say, but it is definitely the
see them through,
because the experience definitely matters from Williams, from Lennon. It definitely allows them to know where to be if there is kind of that question during the match. But yep. So let's wrap a bow on this match, and Atlanta United will be playing NYCFC on Saturday, April 6th, and we will have that preview later on for you in this episode. But let's get into the news, and the Eastern Conference looks a little bit something like this. So FC Cincy on top of the standings right now with 12, Inter Miami with 11. They do and have played more games than everybody else so far in terms of Inter Miami. Columbus also with 11, and the surprise, New York Red Bulls at 11 points as well. Toronto also not doing too bad at 10 points, and us at 9 points. So, I hate to say this, but Miles Robinson, obviously he's on the top team right now with FC Cincy in the East, and they're looking formidable for sure. And so this is what I mean. Like if we're wanting to hit those heights, like we need to kind of really figure out how to win on the road. FC Cincy is the one team that has not lost, at least in the East, in the higher parts of the standings anyway. Philadelphia also haven't lost, but yeah, they're right underneath us in 7th, but I think that's a little fool's gold probably, in my opinion. But yeah, so Atlanta in 6th. It's not too bad, or there's 9 playoff spots this season, but yeah, it is some heights we can climb. Any thoughts on that, on the standings right now?
No, I mean, we are where we should be. We haven't figured out. I mean, we played 2 pretty tough games, away for those losses. One, we were never going to win this game, with Toronto basically being full strength with their superstars, and us with our kids. We were probably never going to win that. And then obviously our first game, where we haven't really solidified anything, against the reigning champs, who kicked our butts. as we expected them to. Not as badly as we thought they would, but I mean, it is what it is when you go up against that team. So those were pretty much never going to be win games. I never expected those to be win games. We can put those aside. I think, moving forward to this game against New York, this will be a real test, because it'll be the first time where we really have, depending whether or not GG is available, this will be a real test to see if we can start trying to win it, really start having a good chance at winning away. And then, of course, we won 3 at home, which is what also we should be doing, winning all of our games at home.
Indeed. All right, well, moving on from that, Jamal Thiare, he was rewarded with the MLS Team of the Match Day appearance. For only pretty much a 30-minute appearance, he got on the Team of the Match Day with his birthday brace. And, Pineda, he pointed out that it was his birthday. And I think what's interesting is, Thiare, he spoke after the match saying that he's usually a person that never celebrates their birthday. And he says he constantly stays in their own bubble, does their own thing, but it was awesome. It happened to be my birthday today, and on top of that, I scored. Going forward, I'm going to stay calm and just keep working. So very, very professional birthday comments there, where yeah, man, no, I actually would have thought that he would be a person that really celebrates his birthday. But
he's got maybe some media training when he was in France, so
I suppose. So, but anyway, moving on from that, Aiden McFadden, the fullback, he has been sent on loan, or will be sent on loan, by Atlanta United. The club is to be announced. That's according to Doug Roberson. I think that's surprising. It's our depth is not very deep. We pretty much have Ronald Hernandez as the other fullback that is depth, besides, obviously, Caleb Wiley and Brooks Lennon. And so, yeah, that is a little bit concerning when, Ronald Hernandez hasn't exactly been pulling up trees with his performances either. But, yeah, what are your thoughts on McFadden, moving on loan?
That's fine. We need to address some of those positions in the back, so we will have to do something about that. And I don't think Aiden is the solution. So I think it's perfectly fine to send him abroad if we have also plans of reinforcing some other positions. So I think we'll be fine. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it can only be good for him too, I think. So. Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, in terms of, I think McFadden, I think he's a far more attacking player than Ronald Hernandez, being a former pretty much attacking midfielder in college. And so, yeah, I think we do need to bring someone that is more defensive in and can, just be that person that locks it up for us at the end of matches. So, I wouldn't say Ronald Hernandez is exactly that type of guy. So, yeah, we absolutely need to bring somebody else in. So that will be a really good question for what happens after this. But in terms of a former Atlanta United player, Machop Chol, he has joined San Antonio FC. I actually have been wondering, kind of where he's been. I was hoping he gets picked up by somebody because, I think he's at least USL player quality. I think he can, probably get some success there. And obviously, being a kind of Atlanta stalwart in a way in terms of a citizen, like Machop Chol, I think by all accounts, by former players, teammates, all the people that were around him last year and the years before, just seems like a really, really good guy. And yeah, I think he's a unique player too. So, and not only that, one of the most unique names. So definitely wish him the best at San Antonio FC. But yeah, moving on from that, the U.S. women's national team They arrived at Children's Health Care of Atlanta's training ground, the Atlanta United training ground, rather. But they were getting ready to play the She Believes Cup on Saturday at the Benz. And yeah, already there's over 45,000 tickets sold for the match. And yeah, according to the media, it's probably around the second largest crowd played in the U.S. for a U.S. women's national team friendly. So it might grow into the first one.
Well, it's not a friendly if it's for the She Believes Cup, right?
Well, it's they're saying it's a friendly, I guess, on the media. So either way, I mean, it's a semi. It's a all that. I guess they're just, I don't know. I don't know why they're saying it like that, but either way, She Believes Cup. It's gonna be amazing, and Michael will be there. So yes,
Come say hi.
yes, indeed. So yeah, that should be incredible stuff to the best national team in the world, at least on the women's side. But yeah, and then grass will be installed in the stadium this week for that match. So yeah, there are special occasions where this happens. Kind of previously as well, it was when the Premier League was in the United States for not only the Chelsea versus Newcastle United and the Brighton match as well. Who did Brighton play? Man, you were there, so.
Oh my God, I don't remember. It was a team I don't care about. I remember that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, either way, yeah, there were some Premier League sides that, of course, this happened for.
What was that?
Now it's gonna drive you crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna bother me.
Yeah, but anyway, so moving on from that, Unified Signing Day also happened, and yes, always a great day. Brad Guzan, always one of the coaches, and yeah, it's always a very heartwarming side to it, where when they play after LA United plays, it's definitely very entertaining. So if you've been able to catch some of their matches after Atlanta United plays. But moving on from that, in our last piece of news, Atlanta United, the academy, the U15s and the U17s.
Brentford,
that's it. That's right. Yeah. And
it's gonna drive me insane.
Which I mean, they're a good side. They're a strong Premier League side. But anyway, the U15s and U17s, they took to Florida to begin the first stage of the 2024 Generation Adidas Cup. They're the 2 out of 80 youth teams from across the world that participated in the group stage. And yes, the U15s did beat Manchester United's team. And, yes.
So look at that.
Oh yeah, and so definitely a battle of the Uniteds that we won. So we'll take that home.
The better United.
Exactly. It's written. It's in stone. You can't do anything about it, Manchester United. So it's too bad. But the
sucks to suck.
It sucks to suck. But anyway, so yeah, that is the news there and there, and let's get into the mailbag. And you guys send in these questions through IG story and the Discord, and continue to do so, and we might answer your questions in the future. But first question comes from Gavin, our higher tiered Patreon member, so he gets priority here. But does playing at Citi Field impact this team, especially on the road? But if so, or if not, do we still have what it takes to get our first road win of the season in New York City, which would be for the first time since leg 1 of the 2018 playoffs? Woo! Yeah. Thoughts on that?
This is a capital question from Gavin. I think that we have what it takes. I think if there's a chance to get a road win, this is a really great candidate for that. New York is not doing great. Granted, it is Citi Field. It is a strange place to play. I mean, granted, it's not impossible to win there. We can find a way to get through, or at least get a result, get a draw. That would be nice too. I would take a draw as a win in an away game in MLS any day. Just something to get the momentum going for away, so we're just not staring at L's every time we are taking the plane somewhere. Like, it's frustrating to think you have to write off every away game as an L. And if we get something other than that, we can finally start rewriting that narrative. So I'm hoping that we can do that this game. This is a team that I think, like I said, can be taken advantage of. And I think we should. It will depend heavily, I believe, on whether or not Gigi is available. If he is, I think we have a shot at actually winning. If he's not available, it might be a draw or a loss. I'm not quite sure. Probably like a 50-50 on it being either one of those. But I would say very unlikely to be a win if we don't have Gigi. He's just someone who can just be an opener. You know, he's... I mean, we also we're going to have Thiago Almada, who's the, the straw that stirs the drink. So he'll be able to create and hopefully get something going. Hopefully this is the game where he starting to put up those MVP numbers.
Yeah, without giving away too much of the match preview, but yeah, definitely. I think this is that match that it's ripe for the taking, and yeah, it's been a long time, 2018 playoffs, since we've gotten a win here, and but if I recall, Gigi was able to score in NYC last time. So, but the difficulty is obviously it's another new stadium in a sense, because I don't think we have played at Citi Field before, and yeah, the nuance of this stadium will be a little bit different, but I think it's a little bit less small.
It's not as small as a Yankee.
Exactly. It's not quite the playpen that it is at a Yankee Stadium, but still, nonetheless, it's it's weirdly laid out in a baseball stadium, and it's just still kind of the same type of feel in that sense. But next question comes from Josh Cohen fan. Since Gigi is not training today, that was on Tuesday that he wrote this question, is that a sign that he will be less involved in this week's training and play less against NYCFC, letting Jamal start and then be subbed on? I mean, yeah, he was day-to-day in terms of his diagnosis, so it should mean that there is a chance that he does he's able to maybe make the squad at least, but in the 11 we will see. So yeah, I mean, Jamal starting, I would put the percentages much higher than it normally is. But any thoughts there?
Yeah, I think so too. If Pineda has shown, and the sports science group at Atlanta United has shown, that they will take every precaution necessary for their high-value players, especially ones that are injury-prone and so essential to our team like Gigi is. So I expect them to be overly precautious if there's any indication that there could be danger with him starting or being subbed on. They won't do it. They will not do it. It's not worth it, especially for an away game. So they will definitely start Jamal / keep him on. And I don't know what Daniel Rios' status is at the moment. Hopefully he's able to get some minutes if Jamal can't go full 90. So hopefully that's the case, but we'll see. Again, if there's any kind of indication that he can't make it through, they won't do it. And like I said, that doesn't bode super well for our attacking prowess, but I don't think it completely neuters us. So we'll see.
Yeah, fully agree. It's just why take the risk if you don't, if the percentages are not that high as well. But yep.
It's just another one of those. It's like, well, we're gonna have to throw this away result out again. You know, if we have Gigi now, then it's like, and here's the thing, if we don't have Gigi on and we fail to really find the back of the net during the game, we lose like 1-2-0 or something like that. It's like, I feel like it's going to be hard for me to say, is Atlanta United capable of winning on the road? So we'll come back to the exact same questions again. It's frustrating because it's like, I want to see us full power on the road. What can we do against like a team that it can be gotten?
Right. That we should put away.
We might have to wait again.
Yeah. It's because it's another match where we don't have all of our DPs, which, I mean, at this point, it is a bit tired. It's like, in this league, I think that's really where you win your matches is, from the players 4 to 11 as well, in terms of, your first 3 DPs and then, those players after that. How deep are you there, and then how deep is your squad? But
how deep is your love?
Yeah, exactly. But so next question comes from Jair Raimundo. Based on current form, how long until Mosquera starts over Shande? What do you think?
Shande would have to do pretty bad for that to be the case. I think if anything, DEJ would take his place if they were going to do that. However, I'll just say that I think Mosquera is just so much better as a utility piece, as a super sub. He's just so much better at that role to be able to run at tired legs, that I think deploying him in any other capacity, I think, is a mistake, and not playing him to his strength for the team.
Because I think it is that, like, him running at tired legs, it pretty much drags us forward at the end of matches where we get to play in their final third, in our opponent's final third, where versus, if he's running himself ragged in terms of for a full 90, if it were, I just don't know if he can last that long. And okay, sure, maybe if he starts, I don't know. I mean, it's just like it's not like he's exactly lighting it up on the stat sheet either in terms of Mosquera. I think Sean da Silva adds more to our build-up, and while okay, maybe defensively it might be a little bit questionable at times, it's not like I think Mosquera is not really that type of player that's exactly defensively stout either. So if you're looking for kind of a more two-way player in a way, I think Tyler Wolff is probably the player that we've seen start over Sean da Silva. So, next question comes from Patty Ice _14. Which player has surprised you the most since the start of the season?
I think Saba has kind of surprised me the most. I mean, I can kind of go 2 ways. I'll go with the positive way first. I think that, actually, no, it could go 3 ways. Yeah, I could go 3. Like, I think Saba has surprised me in that he has really, gotten to another gear. And it's been impressive to see. Like, he has almost been like a team leader. The guy passes the vibe check. Like, he's doing great. His energy and his outlook, everything seems to be shining. It's wonderful to watch him play. See his smile, like it's, like almost reminiscent to me of like Miggy a little bit, about like how happy he is and how happy he is to score and to do well and to play for our team. Like, it's very endearing. So that's nice to see. One of the other 2 ways is, I'm very surprised in how good Brad Guzan is doing. That was not something I expected. That's interesting and a good thing. It's not a problem per se. So like maybe it is for Josh Cohen, but like it is. It's. I'm happy that that's the case. And thirdly, for a more negative one, I guess, which is surprising as well, is that Thiago is nowhere close to being on his trajectory for MVP numbers so far this season, like he was in previous seasons. So I hope he gets on that quickly, because I want to see some more Thiago Galazos, sooner rather than later.
Those are all great shouts. You didn't have to take all of them, Michael, but
Sorry.
yeah, I mean, I think Saba definitely, yeah, in terms of performance-wise, has been the best, and but yeah, it's a great shout about Almada. I think I would say that Noah Cobb as well is a player that, through his 2 starts, I think he's been, I think you see it in preseason as well that he was defensively stout. Like that's not really the question here. I think it's about what's his poise with the ball, what's his ability to be able to split some lines, to be able to maybe find some players with a diagonal. I think those are the things that we'll need to see him grow with in order for him to, I think, stay in this back line when Stian Gregerson does return from injury. So, but yeah, definitely great shouts there. I think, the next question lends very well to what you asked, and this is a type of question that we get every single week on IG Story. I think in terms of what we're asked, but how bad does Cohen have to be if Brad Guzan is the starter? Asks H. Steimer 1.
I mean, Brad is not doing badly, so I mean, I take issue with the framing of the question, with the premise.
Yes.
I don't think that it makes sense to say how bad is he doing when he's not doing bad at all. I think none of really the goals are on him. There's nothing where I am pointing to evidence of him being a reason why we're losing. So, or the games we have lost, or the games that we have conceded goals in. So I don't think that is really part of the calculus.
And yeah, by some of the metrics as well, in terms of the kind of shots saved, in terms of the kind of the metric in terms of saying how many, what's the probability of that goal? Well, he has been in the positive so far this season, and that is huge. Obviously, you don't want maybe this is against Toronto, a goalkeeper facing too many shots, but that was because, we were away on the road, and that's just what happens. And he did have 8 saves that match. That is probably
Josh Cohen's not making the difference in that game.
Yeah, exactly, and that is probably 6 shots too many on target for me, for my taste, in general. So I'm more concerned about the defense in front of him at that point, and the midfield, and just pretty much the team defense on a whole. But in terms of Brad Guzan, he is not having a bad season at all.
Yeah. And to put a bow on it, I mean, this says nothing about Josh Cohen. I mean, he could be just as good, if not better, but there's no real reason to switch out for him. Neither goalkeeper is, Brad is not doing bad on the pitch in games, and I'm sure Josh is not doing bad in training, and I don't think Josh would do bad in the game either. So, I mean, and it goes back to the kind of the playing philosophy that Pineda has shown that he is partial to. You have to win the position, and the guy you're winning it from also has to give you a reason to lose it. And so far, we have a win condition on Josh's point in that he's a good goalkeeper. We know this, but at the same time, Brad hasn't given us that lose condition yet.
Yeah, exactly. So, last question comes from Carizales J 92. Excuse me. Best pregame spots if you're an out-of-state fan. Well, depends on if you're talking about, obviously, I would assume a home match. And a home match, I think any of the tailgates with the supporters groups.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely the best.
Yeah, and whatever your flavor is, I think that's really kind of the question. If you're, either wanting to go to a footy mob supporters group tailgate, Terminus Legion, Resurgence, La Dulce, it's just definitely anything, or faction as well. I don't want to leave anybody out. Sorry, guys. But
all stripes.
All stripes. It's whatever flavor you want. I would do the research on them.
And they're all in the same place, so you just go there and mix it up.
Exactly. And you can, exactly. You can, kind of whet your appetite with different types of flavors if you want. So, definitely as well follow ATL Gulch on Instagram. They will help you figure out kind of a bit of those things as well, where the tailgate happens, the march, all those things. So,
and you don't have to join a supporters group to enjoy them and to hang out with them.
Exactly. So anyway, you guys, awesome. Thank you for writing those questions in, and we will definitely answer your questions in the future. We might, anyway, if they're good. So moving on from that, match preview for LA United versus NYCFC at Citi Field, 7:30 on Saturday. Well, NYCFC, they last played to a 1-1 draw against Inter Miami, but our last 6 against them does not read for pretty writing, but we have not won. We've drawn 4, and we have lost 2. And our last match against them was a 2-2 draw in June of 2023. But, in terms of NYCFC's roster, the vast majority of their roster is in place heading into this season. It's not a huge turnover. Obviously, the year before, they lost Tati Castellanos and a whole bunch of other players from their MLS Cup winning run. But this time, they're working out some kinks here. There's a lot of youth. Head coach Nick Cushing, he's still figuring it out probably. But, obviously with their place in the standings as well, they are 14th with a -4 goal difference with 4 losses. So, it's a team that should be got, can be got, we need to get. But, the key departures from the offseason, Brian Cufre, Richard Ledesma, Alfredo Morales. But the key signings were Jovan Mijatovic, Andres Pereira, Agustin Ojeda, and Hannes Wolf. But, in terms of pretty much their biggest player there that they acquired in the off-season was Mijatovic, 18-year-old striker. And, he's going to compete alongside Monsef Bakrar. But they're just a type of team that, especially at home, they will be trying to possess the ball. They will be a team that's are pretty skillful, and we need to watch out for them on some set pieces. But in terms of I think this type of team, they're pretty aggressive, and I think we can use that to their disadvantage as well here with that youth and exuberance that they might show. But the pundits have them not high in the Eastern Conference in terms of where they finish, as high as 7th and as low as 13th. So right now they are underperforming those expectations, which is hard to do actually. But that's really where we need to get them. But Caleb Wiley and Jay Fortune, they were able to talk about this match before, and they're saying, we are full of confidence right now. Jamal scoring 2 goals on his birthday, I'm sure he's full of confidence. So I think we're going to go there and have the same mindset we have had for every game. We are going for 3 points. And in terms of Jay Fortune, he says, obviously it helps a great amount when you are away on the international level. You're playing against guys who play in different spaces. It requires a different level of speed. When you come back and play with the guys here, you take what you learn from there and try to apply it. So one of the main takeaways is how we do on the road. Last year, we aimed for a top 4 position in the Eastern Conference, and we didn't get it. Looking back on it, I'm sure there were different reasons behind it, but for me, the biggest takeaway was our performances on the road. We want to be a team that wins at home and away. 5 games, we still know we have another level. So, yep, absolutely. That is the truth. I think something that concerns me a little bit is Wiley saying that, we need to have the same mindset we have had for every single game. I mean, I get what he means. Like, yeah, you're going for 3 points, but it's not exactly like, I think, obviously he's not the tactician here, and he's a teenager, so it's, I get it. But, hopefully the message from top down is that, okay, maybe we do need to adjust our tactics when we're on the road here and figure out what actually works, because so far it ain't it. But anyway, so in terms of the unavailable players for Atlanta United, Stian Gregerson obviously out 3 to 4 weeks still, probably about 2 to 3 weeks now. Gigi out day to day. And we'll probably find out really who's fully out as we get closer to the match. But that gets us, before we get to the predicted 11, like what do you want to see out of the team that you haven't already mentioned before?
I think I mentioned it already. So if it bears repeating, I think that, we need to basically be like how Caleb says, we need to play our game and demonstrate that it's capable of getting results on the road. If it's not, you need to adjust your tactics to try and get results on the road, no matter how it happens. It just, because that has to be the goal of the season, is to get more wins on the road. It just has to be.
Yeah, because it's this. I agree. It's like I don't care how we win on the road. Like at home, yeah, I want us to dominate proceedings. I want us to control. I want us to, but
and we've shown we can do that. So,
right. But
so let's put that to bed and focus on this stuff now.
Right, exactly. And so it's like, like I said, if it's just the 1% better each match, like what can we do better? And I think it's okay if it's set pieces, if it's long throws, if it's more ways for us to essentially score in multiple ways, where we're not just trying to attack one way. Like there are a multitude of ways that we can score. We have the pieces that can score, and let's just make sure we play to our strengths, which place some players that's okay. If they're really good at scoring from distance, let's create a set piece that gets them a good look, or if we have a strong header of the ball, which I feel like Williams is it, get him more looks. Like there was on the road he got 2 in the matter of, I think even like 3 in the matter of like in the box on set pieces. Like we need to find him more on those dead balls. And so lots of situations that we can exploit and really find ways to find the back of the net on the road. So anyway,
whatever it needs to be. I just wish, because we were saying in the live show, Thiago Almada is a fox in the box. If he gets the ball in there, he's likely to score. So put him in the kitchen and watch him cook. I really hope we can get him more balls when he's in the box, instead of him dancing around the top of the box and taking shots, because unfortunately he hasn't been scoring those yet. It'll come, and he will do it, what he's kind of known to do. But like until then, give him some layups, and then he'll graduate to starting to score the more difficult kind of long shots.
Exactly. I like the double metaphor that you just used there. But all right, so let's get into that predicted starting 11. And going from the back, Guzan, I think it's obvious from this point that he's between the sticks. Into the back line, who do you have as your fullbacks? I think pretty obvious.
Wiley and Lennon.
Yep. In terms of the center backs, I think it's picking itself right now as well. Cobb and Williams.
Yep.
Into midfield, who do you got?
Well, it's not necessarily picking itself. We did see Abram make an appearance
as a fullback and as a left center back. I think eventually. So interesting. Definitely,
he did make it. So he is back in the conversation at least.
Yes, right. He's not completely out in the woods. I think Abram was probably used there to. I mean, in a 3-0 win already. Kind of dead minutes. Maybe not dead minutes, but definitely insightful minutes. I would say maybe in the sense that Pineda's trying to figure out if he can use Abram in some different ways. But of course, Abram is primarily more of a center back, and so I guess he would be more of the kind of defensive player there. But on a tricky winger, I'm not so sure. I think we'll really have to figure out if he has the pace to handle that type of thing. So, but yeah, I think it's in terms of the starters right now, Cobb and Williams. So, in terms of midfields, you have Schleich and Muyumba.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yep.
To start.
Yeah, for sure. And in terms of the wingers,
and they won't come out as well. Not Tristan, but Schleich won't come out as early. A lot of the internationals won't come out as early either this game too. So that's also a positive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we definitely saw a lot of minutes management in the last match. But onto the wings, who do you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting a little bit more interesting with Zonde.
Yeah.
Talking about what his role is and what his strengths are. I think we need more data to really determine that. So until then, I'm just going to start him. That'll be my guess. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side, it's got to be the hot hand Saba.
Mm-hmm. Because, it's also that. It's like, we also did it without that too. But in Toronto, Silva didn't start. But I feel like, he had a good enough match last time that he warrants a start here. And so, Saba and Silva for me as well. Almada in the middle, that's a given. And the great question, if he's healthy.
I want that. Yeah. I want that on a shirt. Would you guys buy that? If you have if Almada's available, you play Almada. If you have Almada, you play Almada. I would wear a shirt that says that.
There we go. Exactly. This feels like a thing you write on a chalkboard, like just 100 times.
It's just Bart Simpson writing it over and over.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, the great question for this match is: does Jamal Thiare start, or does Yorgos Giacomakis if he is healthy? Even if he's at like 80%, do you start him? And what do you think?
I'd say it'd have to be 80, minimum.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it's like if he's not hobbling a little bit, and so he'd have to just have like clean running, then okay, cool. But I think that is the thing is that it seems like Jamal Thiare is probably going to be the starter, just from the press, kind of what players are talking about as well. I think most people are prognosticating, so it would be a great surprise, but it'd be a welcome surprise if Gigi can play. So, but that gets us to the score prediction. What do you got?
So it's dependent on who starts. So we don't know who's going to start in the center forward role. So if Gigi starts, I say 2-1 win. If Jamal starts, I say 1-1 draw.
Okay, it's like you're reading my mind, man. And for the sake of, I guess, changing it up a little bit, we'll just go with one less goal here, and basically it'll be a 1-0 win if GG is in, and it'll be a 0-0 draw if not. So because it's gonna be a little tougher, I think, to score too. It's in terms of it seems like anyway at City Fields, not a lot of goals are really happening, but we'll see. Maybe it's just a small sample size, but hopefully it is more goals.
We're gonna blow the doors off that place.
Exactly. We say this, and hopefully it is commentator's curse, and it's a 3-0 win. So
that's right.
But yep. So guys, that is the preview and pretty much the entire episode, except for the question of the day. And the question of the day is, how quickly do we need to bring in another fullback if Aiden McFadden is sent out on loan? So, guys, get us in the comments below. Looking forward to what you have to say. And that's it for us today. Remember to subscribe to us if you haven't already. Share this episode and leave us a review and rating so we can pop up higher in your rankings. For Michael, I'm AJ. Thanks so much for listening.